Welcome to Orn Oth's Bedtime Stories. Tonight's story, Orn Oth's New Year's Resolution, written by Orn Oth the Dragon and read by Orn Oth the Dragon. It was late in January when Orn Oth the tiny silver dragon woke up to a shouting coming from the kitchen. Orn Oth jumped down off his pillow and trotted to the kitchen to see what was going on. However, when he came into the kitchen, he found his siblings Jasper and Lenora putting out a small grease fire on the stove. Orn Oth looked at the smoldering pan that was now black. The fire was out, and there was a small black lump in the pan. "What happened? You're usually such a good cook, Lenora," Orn Oth asked. Lenora, the little red dragon, looked down from the chair she had been standing on at Orn Oth and stated, "I wasn't the one cooking. I just helped Jasper to put out the fire he started." Jasper sat next to her, his head swaying a bit, pouting. Lenora sighed in frustration, then took the pan to the sink to see if she could salvage it. "Why were you trying to cook, Jasper? I thought you didn't like to cook," Orn Oth pondered. "It was my New Year's resolution," Jasper said. "I wanted to learn to cook more like you and Lenora do. That way I could help out a bit more." Orn Oth blinked. "What's a New Year's resolution?" he asked. Lenora looked up from the sink. "It's a goal that you start at the beginning of the year and is something to help you do better at something or be a better person," she explained. "Oh, that seems like a nice idea," said Orn Oth. "Yes, it sounds nice, but without proper planning and support, it doesn't tend to end nicely," Lenora said, glaring at Jasper. Jasper straightened up and looked back at her. "Now where is the excitement in that?" he asked. Lenora just sighed in frustration again and attacked the pan with a scrubbing brush. Orn Oth helped Jasper to try again, and even though it did not come out as nice as when Lenora cooked, he still managed to make a decent scrambled eggs and ham. While cleaning up, though, Orn Oth kept thinking about what Lenora had said about New Year's resolutions. "I think I want to have a New Year's resolution. Am I too late to get one?" he asked his family. Jasper was getting out a board game to play. He loved board games. "Of course you're not too late. You can make a goal to change for the better any time you want," Jasper said. Orn Oth got back up to the table to play the board game. He enjoyed playing such games with Jasper because they never got stale. Jasper would play them a few times and then find fun ways to add or change the rules to make the game new and exciting again. Jasper had also made several board games of his own. This time Lenora joined in too. While they played, the three of them tried to come up with goals that Orn Oth could use for his New Year's resolution. "You could try fishing," Jasper suggested. "Nah, most of the fish worth catching are bigger than I am. I wouldn't be able to reel them in," Orn Oth responded. "You could try learning to garden," Lenora said. "That would work for the spring and summer, but what about the winter?" Orn Oth asked. "Well, it is warm in your room. You could grow a few of them in there," Lenora supplied. "That might work, but then how would the bees get to them to pollinate them?" he queried. "What about those little sand things you did for Christmas?" Jasper asked. "Those were mini Zen gardens. They were pretty easy to make. All you need is some small container, some sand, some pebbles, and some crafting sticks that you can turn into rakes and hoes. But if I made them all the time, I would need to start selling them to make money so I could keep getting the supplies to make them. I'm not sure I want to do that, Orn Oth stated. Lenora rolled her eyes. There ended up being lots of ideas that Orn Oth liked, and lots of ways to deal with little problems along the way. Regardless of what he decided to do, though, Orn Oth realized that the key to his success would be planning ahead. Orn Oth decided to try to improve himself by learning to sew. This would allow him to fix clothes that got small holes in them or lost buttons. But to help him reach his goal, he set aside one evening every week on Tuesday to practice sewing a part of a teddy bear. He did this to help him see his progress. Each week, he would get a little bit closer to having a full teddy bear. Once he got there, then he could take out any parts that were not well done and redo them. Then, when the stitching was all done well, he could stuff it with cotton and finish it off. Mostly he had chosen to do this because his mother and sister told him that if he did not have a plan for how his goal would work, it was more likely to fail. Jasper had also told him that he should have a way to see the progress that he had made. This would help him to keep going even on days where he felt discouraged. So Orn Oth began his New Year's resolution. He found it surprisingly difficult just to start. The cotton was easy to find as they had plenty at the cottage where he lived. However, finding the right color thread was much more difficult. Orn Oth could not find it at home and had to do extra chores to earn enough money to buy the color of thread he needed. In addition to the cotton and thread, Orn Oth also needed to find the right material. Just like the thread, he had to earn it. But unlike the thread, it didn't take just a few weeks. It took almost 2 months to earn it. His mother let him borrow her sewing needles to help him, and he was able to start the teddy bear by using scraps of cloth he found around the cottage, and using whatever thread he could find. His mother encouraged him to do this because if he did not start, even though he had the wrong materials, he would be far less likely to make it to the point where he could get them. Orn Oth learned that keeping a New Year's resolution can be very difficult and full of setbacks. However, he also learned that perseverance pays off. He became so good at sewing that by the time the next New Year came, he had not only made a little panda bear as a companion for his teddy bear Jojo, but he had also been able to make 2 more for his siblings as presents. So now, each year, Orn Oth not only makes a New Year's resolution that helps him to be a better and more well-rounded individual, he also looks for someone he can work with to help keep him going and so that he can encourage them to complete their goal. The end.